recognized to speak for the committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that was a powerful story. And I have heard many stories like that in the lead up to this vote here today. But Mr. Speaker, the powerful anecdotes of one person and the consent of one person cannot stand for the consent of another person. And if there are women who feel unsafe, if there are women who feel like their space has become not private, then we should listen to those women. And just because a small segment of the population would like those policies to accommodate them over women doesn't mean that we here today can do that. So, Mr. Speaker, for us, and I pause because my colleagues are walking out as I give this speech. People are clapping in the gallery for their walking out. And Mr. Speaker, I think that illustrates exactly why I got up here today. I could have quietly voted my conscience, could have followed the party line, but Mr. Speaker, again, the consent of one person cannot stand for the consent of another. And just because one person is comfortable with a transgender woman being in the bathroom with them or playing sports with them or being in a prison with them doesn't mean that another woman is. And these issues do not have to cause violence. These conversations can be nuanced, and we can have conversations about treating each other with respect and humanity, and putting in place policies that say that women who were born women deserve a space to themselves, whether that be the bathroom or sports or the locker room or prisons, is not transphobic. And there are people in my town, there are people throughout the country who are liberal, left-leaning people who agree with what I just said here, but some of them won't vote with me here. Some of them, in fact, have left the party in my town. There was just a woman last week who left my party because she felt not only was she not being heard, but she felt like there was no way for her to even speak up about this position. And given how many people are still in their seats, I can understand why. The orthodoxy of the Democratic Party on this issue has left us to where we can't have nuanced discussions, and women are being silenced in this conversation. As much as people don't want to hear that, that is what is happening. And when I talked to people on this side of the issue and this side of the issue, I heard, I don't want any violence to happen against me. I don't want to be disrespected or unheard. I heard that from transgender individuals, and I heard that from women. So, Mr. Speaker, I think HB148, legislation which enables localities, municipalities, and businesses to put in place specific policies around definitions of sex, is not a right-wing, fascist, Nazi movement like I've been told that it is. I was called a Nazi for the prospect of giving this speech. I mean, I don't think that your position or side benefits from calling the other a Nazi when they are trying to ask genuine questions about women's spaces and the protection of women inside those spaces. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a controversial topic. I absolutely understand that, and I apologize that we had to clear out half the room for it. But municipalities, localities, private gyms, prisons, these places should be able to put in place policies which, in limited circumstances, separate people based off of biological sex. And I ask that the members on this side who have to feel the pressure of the orthodoxy on them would consider the alternative side and consider not calling them bigots or racists or homophobes or transphobes just because we certainly have questions about women's spaces and the protection of women within them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.